But until it's time to implement what you have learned, it means nothing. Amazing day. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Andrea, and on this channel we talk about all things related to mature living for the woman, single woman over 50. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my June reflections. So June has been an interesting month for me. Those of you who've been following me know that I have been caregiving for my mom for about 3 months. So during the first portion of this year, from February to the end of May, beginning of June. And so June was really a kind of reset month for me as we move into the latter part of the year. So I'm going to share some of my favorite things and experiences and lessons with you that I learned during the month of June. Let's start. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I have different categories. I like to share my favorites, and also at the end just give you kind of a little reflection about those things, those experiences, and those moments. The first category is what was my favorite movie of the month. So you guys know Mission Impossible with Tom Hanks and Angela Bassett, The Final Destination. So Mission Impossible Final Destination was in the movie theaters, and I had the opportunity to see that movie. I found it very exciting, very action filled, and it was really, really good. You can check it out for yourself. Now, I have not seen any of the prior Mission Impossible movies, so I cannot compare them to the other movies, but for me it was fun, action filled, and I really, really enjoyed it. And maybe I will put a link down to the trailer in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. The second thing is I usually talk about my June, Next, I talk about shows. So any type of show that I've been to or seen or have been watching a series, right? So there are 2 shows or 2 series, streaming series that I have been watching and following. The first one is BMF, which stands for Black Mafia Family. Now listen, I'm a city girl. I grew up in the 80s. I do not remember any of the information in the media about Big Meech, who this movie is based on. He was a big-time African-American drug dealer, I believe from the East Coast to the West Coast, and all the things that happened with it, right? He was based out of Detroit, Michigan, and I think he was in the drug dealing game for almost 20 years or so before he was convicted with federal crimes, RICO charges, and all the things. As a matter of fact, I believe he was just recently released in 2024. That's neither here nor there. I like the series because maybe I really have a little gangster in me inside of me. I don't know, but it's really about the 80s era. I'm an 80s baby, so all of the music, the culture of hip hop back in that time, I don't know, and maybe because I'm from the city, I just find it very interesting. Now, there is a lot of crime involved. There is action, killing. I don't know, maybe I need to check on that. But anyway, I like it. I don't know. I find it very intriguing. So I'm like on season 2, and I think it's up to season 4 or 5. I don't know. But I've been following it. I've been liking it and enjoying it. So if that's your kind of thing, check it out. If not, hey, step away from it. The second show that I'm watching is season, I want to say 7. I'm not really sure, of The Chi. So I think I talked about that here before, but they've just released a new season of it, and it's similar. It's kind of crime out of Chicago, but it does definitely have a more familial sense to it in terms of relationships, family members, the challenges that they're going through in terms of trying to make life as normal as it can be in such a time of drugs and violence and things of that nature. So I don't know. That's where my head is. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. But those are the two shows that I've been watching for the month of June. Next category I want to talk about is, if I've gone to a new place or have experienced any new foods or drinks. And when my guy and I were in Virginia Beach earlier in June, we went to a breakfast spot or brunch spot called Another Broken Egg. And it is in Virginia Beach. So if you are in the area, check it out. It is, it reminds me of First Watch. So if you have a First Watch in your area, because that is a pretty commercial type of breakfast restaurant, or I don't know if they only sell breakfast. I think they sell other foods too. But however, this restaurant is like a step up. So it has a lot of different types of ingredients to the menu, like goat cheese and a lot of vegan and vegetarian options, as well as your Southern country food as well, if that makes sense, for breakfast, fish, shrimp, entrees, and very affordable as well. So I really, really like that. I had what was called a Veggie Delight omelet. It had goat cheese on the top, but it had your typical mushrooms, green peppers, onions, tomatoes inside of it. And it was really, really good. I had it with, I believe, grits, and maybe biscuits. Don't hold me to that. But really like the restaurant. Would love to visit it again. Being a vegetarian of 20 plus years, 25 plus years, I'm always looking for places that are, vegetarian friendly. The story that I want to share or talk about is home. You guys know I'll talk about something different if I'm working on a project at home or something that I have going on or want to purchase or whatever the deal is. And really June has just June has just really been about recalibrating. I had my mom here for 3 months. She's 85. She had an injury in December. And so, her being here was taking her to therapy, having caregivers in. So there were a lot of extra things I had in my home. I bought a new bed before she came down. I swapped my office out into a bedroom for her in February. Now I had to move all those belongings out, shower chairs, all the things, and figure out what I'm going to do next. Do I want to make it an office again? So I'm kind of in the process of transitioning that room. Okay, so that's what I've been working on. Is my that's the third bedroom here in my home, and trying to determine what kind of feel do I really want for it now? Do I want a full office feel, or especially since I'm making videos, do I want to make it more kind of like a beauty or recording room? So I'm trying to figure that out. If you guys have any tips, love to hear it. Drop it in the comments section. The next category that I typically talk about are the books that I've read for the month. Your girl read no books, okay? No books. Now, am I always reading? Sure. Have I completed any books? Nada. I am behind in my 2025 goal of reading 24 books for the year, i.e. 2 books a month. So I may be 3 books in, maybe. I think I started off pretty good. I can't remember, but I'll check it out. But I didn't get to read any books for the month of June, and so we'll change that for the month of July as we move forward. Memorable moments for the month of June, right? I had many. The first one is taking my mom back to Connecticut. Memorable, obviously, because after many, 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 many years, you guys, I left Connecticut in 1989. And of course, over the years, I've gone to visit my mom, took my kids up 3, 4, or 5 times a year, done vacations and all those things. But to have her with me day in and day out for around 3 months was priceless. It was very difficult in the term of work, like, but not her. My mom is so cool. She's so smart. She's so on point. Like, she's so funny. She has so much personality. To have her here with me was wonderful in that regards. And so to return her, if you guys don't know the story, I'm not going to put it here. Check out my recent videos. Her, you know, taking her back to Connecticut for a variety of reasons was bittersweet. Was bittersweet. So very memorable. Her and I had some great conversations, and just a memorable moment. The second memorable moment for the month of June was right at the beginning of June. I went to see Gabby. So after I left Connecticut, on my way back from Connecticut, I stopped in New York to see my daughter Gabby, who is 21, who is living in Upper Manhattan for the summer because she has a paid internship with a huge beauty brand / company in New York City. And so I was able to, her dad took her up there. I wasn't able to do that because I was taking my mom to Connecticut, but I was able to stop by and see her place on the way back and spend several hours with her. So I think I got there around noonish and left maybe 6:30. But during those 5 or 6 hours, I trusted her with my life on the subway because I hadn't been to New York in years. We got on the subway. We went down to, I think, like the Village area, NYU area. We had a late lunch at this amazing Italian restaurant that was real eclectic. It had all these books and things around, like the theme of the restaurant was like classic books. Right? I know it's weird. Maybe I'll put some pics somewhere here. But it was phenomenal. We did a little shopping. I got some amazing coffee from a great coffee shop, not your, you know, Starbucks and mainstream, but like a local coffee shop. And we just had a great time connecting and walking through the streets of New York. And it was absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of her. Time really, really flies, you guys, with these adult children. And I'm just really proud. That was a real memorable moment that I shared with Gabby. Following that weekend, I came back home and I was off for the week. So I went to my guys. If you guys don't know, we live like an hour and a half apart. And I went to his space and chilled all week. Like, coming from being a full-time caregiver, because that's what I was when my mom was here, and just being in a space where I could just relax, right? Relax. I mean, we did things, but I didn't really have to think about it. Does that make sense? I didn't really have to plan anything. You know, he was just wonderful. And I won't forget that. I just will not forget that. So, you know, we went to the movies, we went out to eat, we went to the beach. You know, got my nails and toes done or whatever, my nails done. And we just had a great, great time. But it was a great segue between, you know, my mom leaving and then me sort of getting back to life, if that makes sense, back to what was before she came here. So that was really, really good and very memorable for me. We had some great times that week, and I'm happy about it. Okay, I'm happy about it, and I appreciate him so much for doing that. The fourth thing is, me and my guy went back to, well, that week we went to a place called Paradise Ocean Club, which is a private beach. But then maybe a week later, we went down to Virginia Beach for the day. And so we're on the beach, cooler, chilling, and all of that. That's where we went to, we had the breakfast that I just mentioned. And so we've been beaching it, y'all. Summer is here. We are enjoying it, and more to daggone come. Right? And so also, for memorable moments, I also did, I did still get my monthly massage. Remember, that was one of the goals that I had for myself for the year. So I'm on track with that. And yeah, those were my memorable moments for the month of June. Lastly, one of the real important parts of this video is what I learned. And I record these videos because I think it is so important for us to reflect on what we're doing. A lot of times the years end out and we don't even remember what we did, where we went, what we experienced, how much fun we had, did we learn anything? And so I really love providing this content in this way because it makes me do a reflection, which I'm usually very reflective at the end of the month and quarters and stuff like that anyway, but to have it, you know, recorded, right, where I can reflect back on it. So I want to share with you what I learned for the month of June, or the lesson that I learned when I think about the month of June. And so I actually wrote it, so I'm gonna read it. I learned that it's okay to make tough decisions that others will not agree with or understand. And there's a big implementation part to making decisions. One of the things I've recognized being in the personal development space as a life coach, having had my own personal life coaches and business coaches in my life, is that as a society today, we learn and hear a lot of stuff. We learn about setting boundaries. We learn about self-care. We learn about self-love. We learn about relationship caveats. We learn about mental health and that we should have therapy. And we're learning about all these things that maybe 10, 15 years ago were not really at the forefront of conversations, right? But here is the thing. You can learn all of those things. You can read all of those books. You can go to therapy all you want. You can go to therapy for years. But until it's time to implement what you have learned, it means nothing. It means nothing. The boundaries that you set for yourself, the goals that you set for yourself, the mindset that you set for yourself means nothing until it is really challenged and you actually implement the very tools and things that you learned in that process. Right? And so implementation is key. People will not always understand. And it isn't necessarily for you to share why you make certain decisions, why you make certain choices, right? That only has to be between you and, as a believer, God. That is the most important thing, right? Depending on what decisions and shifts and changes you make in your life, who they have to do with, if that makes sense, right? But ultimately, your first responsibility is to yourself after God, because you are going to be here with yourself to the end. And so for me, it was a season, a month of implementation, of standing on what I believe and what I know about myself, and being honest and self-aware, and being able to move forward in this season with making those decisions and choices. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And as a woman over 50, we have spent, and I'm 56, we have spent decades as Gen Xers being all types of things to all types of people and seeing ourselves in a certain way based on society's expectations of us when we were coming up and growing up in the 70s and the 80s, right? Depending on how old you are. But we don't have to live in those spaces anymore. We don't have to see ourselves the way that society saw us in the 70s and the 80s. We, my friend, get to make decisions for ourselves. We get to move forward for ourselves. We get to have self-autonomy. We get to care for ourselves, love ourselves, and really create the life that we want to live, even at this golden age, silver age, whatever age you want to call it, right? Over 50. So that is what I learned in the month of June. Thank you so much for chiming in and listening into my June favorites. It's kind of a quick video, but I'm really excited to be back in the swing of things. And I'd love to hear your commentary. I'd love to hear about some of your favorite things that you've got going on in the summer, because this is my favorite season ever. And I'm really looking forward to just moving forward and, doing what's next. Learning more lessons, exploring, and enjoying more of my favorites. So listen, if you like what you heard here, make sure you like this video, thumbs it up, thumbs it up. Make sure you subscribe. We're almost at 100 subscribers, right? I'm really excited about being a little more consistent, so please just be patient with me as I, get everything together. And have a wonderful and blessed day. Subscribe, like, and share this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.